Morning, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Reality Bites. Happy Thursday. Listen, we talked about the other day that I wanted to jump into what we often call the Lord's Prayer. We're going to be coming from the book of Luke, chapter 11, verses 1 through 13. I told you a few days ago that it's not the Lord's Prayer in the way that we think it's the Lord's Prayer. So we're going to talk about that a little later, tomorrow or the next day, talk about why it's not the Lord's Prayer. But today, I want to just open up to talk about a little bit of an introduction to this particular area. Now, in Luke chapter 1, it's funny because we have the disciples checking out Christ praying. And after he finishes praying, they said, well, come here. Jesus, can you teach us to pray like John taught his disciples to pray? So they saw something that they thought or that they wanted to emulate and to mimic in order for them to have the type of relationship that prayer is a part of. So this is what Christ said. He says, when you pray, say. Now, let me dispel one popular myth. You don't have to say these words verbatim because many of us may know them. Many of us may not know them. But as we know about Christ, he's always after the heart of a matter, the intent of a thing, the core of it. So you may not say these words verbatim with each prayer that you pray, but the emphasis is this, that you have subconsciously and consciously the full intent or the meaning behind why these different elements were in the prayer so you can understand and apply them to your life. Now, some of these parts you may need to pray verbatim, but we'll get to that a little later. But watch this. It opens up after Christ says, when you pray, say, our Father who is, or who art, if you read Old King James English, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, or hallowed is your name, or some versions, holy is your name. I like hallowed not because it sounds deep and difficult and like a $10 word to say holy, but because it gives you the picture of hollowing something out, even though it's a different word than hollow. It's hallowed, H-A-L-L-O-W, but it gives you the picture of hollowing something out and holding it up separately and individually from everything else. Now, the word hallowed is just a means to say holy, to consecrate, set apart, or different. Now, the reason why this is important because when many of us come to pray, we not only are praising God and thanking God, but many of us even have times of things that we need God to do. But here's what I'm saying. The opener of the prayer is saying, God, you are holy. You are significant. You are amazing. You are separate. You are individual. You are unique. So what we go into prayer with is first a praise to thank God and to acknowledge that God is who he said he is, that he can do what he says he can do. It's important because when we go into prayer, we can get tripped up many times and not really going with the sole intent or sole purpose or idea that God is who he says he is and can do what he says he can do. And we might get messed up and go to prayer with too low of an expectation to have something met. We can go pray and not believe he can do it. Would you go ask somebody to borrow money that you knew was broke? Probably not. And that's the same way with God. When you go, I need to go with an acknowledgement of all the amazingness that he is and acknowledge his presence. When you go into the room to speak to somebody or go into anybody's house or into an office building and you don't speak, it's rude. So this is the speaking, the introductory portion where I'm saying, God, thank you for who you are. Hallowed be your name. I'm setting you up before I say anything else. I'm setting you up at your rightful place and rightful position. So hallowed means I'm unique and different as a God. Now watch why this is important. We all know it's NBA Finals time. The Spurs and the Heat are going at it. The Spurs a little bit more than the Heat, but they're going at it. And in basketball, for years, ever since Michael Jordan has stepped onto the court, and more so even now after his retirement, people have compared every great player to enter into the NBA. Who will be the next Michael Jordan? Who will be the heir to the throne? Who will do what Michael Jordan has done? And even as great as some players are that come in, you had your LeBron James, obviously, and your Kobe Bryants who have had comparisons. And you've had people like Harold Miner going back some years. All these people, every year somebody new is being compared to be the next Michael Jordan. And true enough, these people may be great players. Some may fall flat. Some may have amazing skill. Some may have rings. Some may have amazing dunking ability, jumping ability, shooting ability. But it was a conglomerate of things, or a group of things, that made up the fantasy and the legend that Michael Jordan was. So much so that any true basketball fan will say, you know what? Michael Jordan is here, and all the other players are here. I don't care how many rings Kobe wins, how many rings LeBron wins, how many rings or what anybody else does. There's something about the pantheon of basketball greatness that says Jordan is here and other players that are coming behind are not. There's no comparison. So in a way, in a sense, for basketball, you're saying Jordan is holy. He's hallowed. He's unique. He's set apart. He's different. And this is the same verbiage we use for God, is that he's unique. But the thing about that is, one day, somebody will come up to equal Jordan's plateau, or equal Jordan's skill level, and equal Jordan's legend and his myth, and even go past it. But nobody will ever be mentioned in the same breath as God. Nobody will ever be comparatively great like God is. So when you go to your self-help gurus, your yogas, your chakras, all the other stuff that we try to do and bring up as gods and idols, he says, that's not it. You need to declare me as holy, hallowed, separate, and unique. Because only someone who's holy, hallowed, separate, unique, different, distinct, and individual can really bring to you the answers, bring to you the healing, bring to you the comfort, bring to you the perspective that you need when you go to God in prayer. But listen, that's all I have for today. So we are at Hallowed Be Thy Name, the introductory portion. And tomorrow we'll jump into Thy Kingdom Come, Thy Will Be Done, or Your Kingdom Come, Your Will Be Done on earth as it is in heaven. So we'll go through this for the next few days, and hopefully you'll have a better understanding of what to say when you pray. I love you all. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.